Blucher is on the table. To be more precise, the Scharnhorst campaign/scenario generator is what we're going to be looking at today. But before we get to that, I should probably address the elephant in the room, or more appropriately, the kids in the room. Behind my house, the guy that has that property, he got a bunch of new kids because his old kids kind of got eaten by his pit bulls. Now, don't worry, the offending animals have been put down, but there's new kids back there, so you may hear some screaming, and I just wanted to warn you about that. Goats, but I probably should have led with that. Not children, I mean kid goats. So you may hear them bleeding, and it's a lot of fun when combined with the ground doves that you hear cooing and the roosters. It's life and on the homestead. Sometimes we call it Howley Heights. Anyway, talking about blue. Oh, also, I lost a fight with a kitchen knife. This is overly dramatic. It's just when you get cut in a place where, when you're constantly moving your hand and the wound might open and close, you have to be overly dramatic. It's not painful. I didn't have to go to the hospital. I just, it's fine. Just ignore it for now. It'll be gone in a few episodes. Let's talk miniature wargaming. We have already done this once. We're going to do it again. And we're not going to do Eastern Europe again. This time I'm going to do 2 opposed armies, 200-point battle. I might do things a little bit different for the battle itself. Commenter suggested, hey, I might get Blucher just for this system, and I gotta say, I kind of recommend it. It can create some really interesting scenarios. I may actually play the battle out for this using Rod Humble et al.'s 2x2 Napoleonics. It's a great little game. It's the right scale, matches Blucher really well. The amount of maneuver elements on the board are about the same. The reinforcements are a little different. We'll have to think a little bit more about that. But for today, let's just go ahead and get that scenario on the table. I'm going to be doing Prussians versus Russians. Technically, this is a double blind system. I'm going to be playing single blind. One of the forces, I don't know which one yet, is going to be face down, and we're just going to kind of blindly maneuver those elements, and it's going to be Christmas morning when we actually get to a battle, and we discover to our surprise who's on the left, who's on the right, and who's in the center. Or perhaps who is coming on as reinforcements. So let's go run down the army list real quick. Both of these armies essentially have one column that is the big ugly. The leader, Kutuzov, in the case of the Russians, has got the heavy hitters. 2 guards, grenadiers. He's got 3 units of infantry and 2 cuirassiers, 2 guard cavalry. That's column 1. Column number 2, mostly infantry, a little bit of militia, and some Cossacks. I'm assuming the Cossacks are light cavalry. Correct me if I'm wrong, Napoleonic bros. I'm new at this. And then column 3 is a couple of infantry and 2 heavy artillery. Why don't I have foot artillery? Why don't I have horse artillery? Because I literally don't have those in my collection. I built my collection when I was just starting out, and it takes a year or so, and you really have to look to figure out how to play Napoleonics because nobody wants to lay out the basics. It's a little frustrating, got to be honest with you. But like anything else, just start with what you got, power through. We'll get there. We'll find a way later on. For now, I do have a 4th column. This column of Cossacks is light cavalry. They do not appear on the table. This is the scouting unit that may appear as reinforcements. And that's going to be really interesting if we look at 2x2 Napoleonics. Notice, heavy hitters, just kind of whatever, and then heavy artillery. Those are the 3 columns for the Russians. For the Prussians, we have, would you look at that? Heavy hitters, just kind of, some stuff, and then, the heavy artillery. Now, I did mix it up a little bit in this case. Again, York von Wartenberg is the leader of the Prussians. I think this is there it says right there, late war. I probably should go with Blucher because, his name is right there on the tin. What are you going to do? So we've got 2 reserve regiments. I'm not really sure what the difference is on those right now. I need to do a little more research. I'm not sure how I'll represent that in 2x2 Napoleonics. A couple of Landwehr and then a couple of guard cavalry. Now, if I understand correctly, the Landwehr are the punchy boys. I don't know, because we got guards light infantry. So I did mix it up a little bit on this one. Anyway, heavy artillery, couple of line regiments in column 3. Column 2 is a couple of line regiments light cavalry. And then again, like the heavy hitters, the cuirassiers, those are in column 1 with the leader. The Prussians have sent a couple of units into the region serving as light cavalry. And which region are we going to be playing this in? I hear you ask. Well, I don't know. Last time we did Eastern Europe, which would have been perfectly appropriate for Prussians versus Russians, but the dice have other ideas. So to figure it out, I'm going to roll a d6, and if it's a 6, I'm going to ignore it and re-roll it. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. You can't write this stuff, guys. You can't make it up. Number 5. Okay, so they're going to be fighting in Italy. Yeah, boy. All right, Russians and Prussians in Italy. Now, bear in mind, these are just representative maps, and they're just kind of cartoony. And they may not. I mean, I don't know. Is there a town called Parziano? Is that right next door to Grisago? I'm not a geographyologist. Lubica. The point is that you've got roads and you've got town centers that you want to seize, and you've got big mountains and small mountains and big hills. I don't know how I'm going to do mountains. And then down here, this must be like northern Italy, given that this may be like the foothills of the Alps. But there you go. So that's the map we're going to use. You can change these into names that are a lot harder to pronounce. I think in my last video, this Eastern Europe, because my Nord tongue can't quite wrap itself around Z's and Y's and Kors. I think I kept calling it charisma, but it's Korizny. I mean, Brankovi, I guess that's easy enough. You would think, having grown up around a bunch of Polish guys in the Midwest, I'd be better at it. I mean, I can pronounce Kosciuszko. What's my problem? I don't know. Anyway, we need to figure out who's going to go first, which side are we going to be, and to figure that out, I am going to throw 2 counters down on the table. Now, before I flip one of these over, I need to establish a couple of things. First of all, the counter that I flip over will be the counter that stays flipped over while we do our little scenario here. Not to say it's my team. I don't really have a dog in this fight. Whether I have a German Shepherd, if you will, or a Russian, Malamute? I don't know. What's a Russian dog? You tell me. Notice column A, B, and C are going to be our Prussian army, and columns 1, 2, and 3 will be our Russian army. So I'd pick one of these at random, and I could kind of mix them up, but I might be cheating. How would you know? Why would I care? Like I said, they're basically the same army. This is the one that I'll be steering. The red one means I'm going to take on the role of the Ruskies. Okay. Next order of business is figuring out who goes first. Because the Prussians have 2 cavalry units out scouting, they get to choose which side of the map they come in on. They're going to choose this side because it's got a lot of victory points. It's got 5 over here, number 6 over there. Remember that the villages are worth 1, towns are worth 2, and the big city is worth 3. That means we're going to be able to grab 5 right away, and then we can grab this 6th one on turn number 2, but it's going to leave us spread way out. The Prussians are going with a much more moderate advance. We'll bring them up to right about here. Actually, let's go ahead and seize that crossroads right now. Give them maximum flexibility. Again, I don't know which one is which. This could be the artillery out here. That's what happened last time. Led to an interesting scenario. Should happen again. So this time, let's go ahead and we'll seize the city with our artillery. Now, we only get to move 3 squares. I'm going to send my leader up here to the north, kind of matching, and I'll bring column number 2 down here to maybe go run over and grab that 6th point, depending on what the Prussian army appears to be doing. Now, looking at this from the Prussian side of things, this is a bit of a challenge. Do they seize the bridge here and just hold out? If they send this guy out unsupported, do they bring a 2nd column up here? This heavy river is really expensive to cross. I don't even know if you can. It says it's plus 2 movement points. So we have 3 movement points on turn 1, 6 on turn number 2. So you can get across that, except that if you are crossing a minor river without a road, then it costs an extra 1, and the major river costs an extra 2. Oh, that's a little bit less than I thought. So this is 5 movement points for us, but we're not the one that's moving. It's only 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Prussians. So maybe the Prussians just play defensively. They've got 6 victory points. They can just hang on. That's going to leave it to us to dictate where that battle is going to occur. Kind of. They have enough movement points that maybe even bring this up as a choke point. So now we have to decide, well, first of all, we've only got 3 victory points right now. So if we want to grab these 2, that gives us our 5, and then we have to let them dictate where the battle's going to be, because we don't have any way to force these guys off. Now, we do in the full game, but the full game depends a lot on the hidden knowledge of what's, in the full game, you'd have red and blue blinds. This would be a red marker. And the Prussian wouldn't know what the Russian has. We don't have that luxury. So I am, for those of you that are familiar with Blucher and have played it very regularly, you understand that there are things like overrun attacks. There's just no way to calculate like this. That's okay. What we lose in the Scharnhorst campaign, we more than make up for with the scenarios that result. So that's the end of day 2 if we play a little defensively. The other thing we can do is go ahead and seize these hills right there. Maybe that's the smart play. Because what happens then is if the Prussian has the option here of figuring out whether he wants to fight a battle here or down here. And he's actually going to do something, he's going to do what we call a pro gamer move. He's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and stop. This guy is going to go, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and I think he has to stop. But I am mistaken in that because your zone of control does not exist in the diagonal direction. So we can bring this counter up here and go straight at the 2-point victory town. What about this guy? That's going to cost us 2 points. 3, 4, 5. He's not going to be able to get there. So he's strung out way down there. And I think we're done with our movement. We're not quite there yet. The Russians still get an opportunity to move. Now, I did put down the victory points. Obviously, there's one more victory point for the Prussians down here. I could put that right there just so we remember that the Prussians have 6. I'm actually going to back off. That costs 1 point. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll bring column number 3. Remember, this is my cannon up to take Ragoli. And then column number 2, I'm going to slide up to defend right there. That's going to be the end of the day. I did this wrong in my last Scharnhorst video. I got it figured out this time. The end of the day, you roll a d6. We're going to roll the white die for the Prussians or the black die for the Russians. Add the number of victory points you have. In other words, Team Blue has a +1 to the white die. I still rolled higher, so I have the option of declaring a battle. And I say, no, I don't want to declare a battle because he's got more victory points than I do. The only way I'm going to be able to win this campaign is by completely driving him from the field. I'd like to play one more day, please. Now we have to deal with overrun attacks, and that just sounds like a bit of a hassle. Bear in mind there are aspects of this game that rely heavily on the fog of war, on the fact that I don't know what my other player has. They don't work when you're running this solo. The best we can do is build a nice little solo game. So the question then becomes, what happens? Now we alternate movement. This guy is going to have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And really what we have for our campaign is 2 scenarios. Down here, he says, yeah, I want to fight a battle. So this battle up here, well, if he's already moved, I could actually bring these guys on as reinforcements. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fight this battle right here. Now, I don't even know what battle that is. And we could even fight a little battle. So column A versus column 2. Remember the column A. Yes, Biscotti is very excited. We could fight 2 battles over the course of this campaign. They're both happening on the same day. Column A is my heavy hitters for the Prussians is going up against column 2, which is just infantry, militia, Cossacks. So maybe what we do is fight this battle first, and then we circle back around to see what happens in this battle. And in this battle, you've got the artillery on each side is opposing, the other side, I guess you could say. So this is artillery up against the big boys and with the potential for reinforcement. So I think we actually did generate a campaign here. Not what the big boss had intended, but what we can do is see if this heavy column for the Prussians can smash through the light column for the Russians. And if they do, then they'll be able to appear as reinforcements in the backfield of the major engagement over there. Now, that is an interesting little scenario. It's an interesting little 2-battle campaign that I don't know whether old Sammy Mustafa intended for the game to be played this way. Certainly not. I don't even care because this is just kind of an interesting thing to do. Now, the fact that we have mismatched sides on both, that's interesting. And of course, the other question is, how long can the center column for the Russians hold back all of these heavy hitters as they try to breach this stream? So I don't know what this is going to look like yet. But it looks like we got at least 2 more episodes of The Joy of Wargaming as we play this out, count the turns. And I mean, honestly, with 6 victory points, the Prussians may not need to do this, but there may be larger strategic consequences to this battle. I don't know, I'm kind of vamping here, and I may be a little distracted by those kids yelling in the background. I hope you're not too distracted, because this is interesting. I could even play this out with so few chips on the board, so to speak, with so few maneuver elements. It's going to be a 5 versus, no, it's going to be 6. It's going to be 3 infantry, 2 militia, and Cossacks against all of these. I could play this out using something like the Emperor's own, what is it called? The Emperor, Absolute Emperor? Or maybe we even just bathtub it and build a little Song of Drums and Shakos scenario where we scale this down. Instead of having whole battalions marching around, we throw, like, for each one of these infantry, we have like a squad, right? So we've got 5 squads of infantry plus the Cossacks. We do need to also figure out what's going on with these recon boys. There's a chance that these guys could come on to fight in this battle. Man, just all kinds of possibilities. Just, there's no 2 ways. Like, you could get 100 wargamers in a room and they'd come up with 200 different ways to play this battle out. And then they would probably argue about it forever. Because that's what we like to do. It's a lot of fun. That's why I'm here. I don't know why you're here, but I appreciate it. And I hope you come back next week as we play this little southern battle for the crossing at Arcura. Arcura, yeah. And then in a couple of more weeks, we'll do the battle for Ragoli. Man, I'm getting hungry. All this Italian talk. Till next time, guys, I'm praying for you.